Hello everyone, this is a video presentation on cybersecurity during COVID-19. My name is Patrick Kane. I'm an adjunct instructor in the Computer Information Systems Department here at Triton College, and wanted to post a video saying, because of this COVID-19 tragedy that's currently affecting the world, our family, our friends, our loved ones, our employment, we need to remain and be extra vigilant that we're not compromised by cyber criminals. They'll use a number of pretexts included with the COVID-19 pandemic to try to convince you that falling victim to a phishing attack so they can gain access to your computer or account information. So this presentation is going to give you some tips and tricks and some information you can use to maintain your cyber awareness. So in this presentation, we will be defining what is a cybercrime, what is phishing more specifically. We're going to look at some examples, and then we're also going to look at what to do in the event that you do fall victim, who to contact, and other information. So a cybercrime by definition is a criminal activity carried out by means of computers, telephones, or the internet. This can be a mixture of identity theft, different ways of people can capture your information, your identity, transaction fraud. So once they have your account information, username, password information, numbers, they can perform transaction fraud. Hacking is another method of cybercrime, but not always specifically to computers. This is something that could be physical hacking as well. Someone could be trying to gain access to a building through a physical perimeter that they don't have access to. But specifically in this video, we're going to be covering cybercrime and the software element, which is phishing. And more specifically, we're going to be looking at the malware element. Malware is different software mechanisms that are used to try to, lure someone into giving up some information. So we're going to watch a short video here on basically defining the different types of malware, and we're going to see ways you can identify that.
You may have heard of terms such as worms, viruses, trojans, or ransomware when people discuss cybersecurity. These are nothing more than different types of programs cyber attackers use to infect computers and devices. A common term used to describe all these different programs is the word malware. Simply put, malware is software that is used to perform malicious actions. In fact, the term malware is a combination of the words malicious and software. Cyber attackers try to install malware on your computers or mobile devices to gain control over them. Once installed, these attackers can use malware to spy on your online activities, steal your passwords and files, or use your system to attack others. For example, one type of common malware is called a keylogger. Once it infects your system, cyber attackers can use it to capture every keystroke you type, including your logins and passwords. Armed with that information, cyber attackers can then log into your accounts as you. Another example of malware is called ransomware. When ransomware infects your computer, it encrypts all of your files, including your documents, spreadsheets, and photos, locking you out and denying you access to them. The cyber attacker then demands you pay a ransom to decrypt your files to regain access to them. Even if you pay the ransom, you have no guarantee that you'll recover the files. If you don't want to pay the ransom or can't pay it, the only reliable way you can recover the files is from backups. If you do not have good backups, your data is gone. Many people have the misconception that malware is a problem only for Windows computers. While Windows is widely used and thus a big target, malware can infect any device, including Mac computers, smartphones, and tablets. In addition, many people mistakenly believe antivirus can detect and stop all malware. However, it can't. Cyber attackers are constantly developing new versions of malware that can bypass most antivirus software. This is why your security training is so important. Much of what we are teaching will help protect you from getting infected. Ultimately, your best defense against malware is common sense. If something seems odd, suspicious, or too good to be true, it may be a cyber attacker trying to infect your system.
So in that video, we saw a number of different software applications that are used by cyber criminals to obtain your information, a number of different ways, a variety of different ways. It was a lot of information, but one of the key takeaways from that video is sometimes the best defense is common sense. So you want to look at that message in a little greater detail to see, if it may be something that could not be from a known source. So what malware specifically does is it infects your PC, laptop, or smartphone, not just computing devices, but also your phone as well, your smartphone. It's normally installed by you doing something. So you need to click on a foreign link or click on a shortcut or an attachment to launch that application to do its bad deeds. It can be bundled with other software. So if you do download a piece of software, you want to make sure you're downloading it from a reputable source. It can download other threats on your PC. So once you have that piece of software downloaded and installed, one of its functions may be to install other pieces of malicious software as well. It can be installed when visiting infected websites. ChicagoTribune.com, for example, a couple years back, they were infected. One of their paywalls, that's those video ad walls on the sides of the page. If you click through a link or a video, it actually installed something silently on your system. If your machine didn't have up-to-date antivirus and Windows updates or operating system updates, you could fall victim. Specifically, phishing, what we're going to focus on in the video here is the fraudulent practice of sending emails purporting to be from reputable people or companies, inducing individuals to reveal personal information. Again, as mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, the COVID-19 is one of the cyber tactics that these criminals are using to pivot and obtain information, using that as a pretext. So this video is going to show you how not to be a victim, what to look out for. Again, they're trying to go after password information, credit card numbers, account information. So what to look out for specifically? Take a look at that email address. If it's to your Triton email, look for non-Triton addresses or what looks like a Triton employee from a non-Triton domain. Now, what a domain is, that would be like your name and then at triton.edu. So at triton.edu is the domain for Triton. So something may have been from looks like a user here at the school, an administrator, a teacher, faculty, staff. See if it came from at triton.edu. If it did not, then that might be something suspicious. The to in the CC fields. So was email sent to a list of people or people you don't know? Sometimes these remailers are called. They'll go out and they'll try to email as many people as possible. And if you see a message with a number of recipients that don't look familiar, that might be something to be on the lookout for. Generic greetings, account holder, valued member, dear user, hello. Those are generic greetings. Those are mass mail messages. That could be a trigger or sign that that message might not be legitimate. Grammar and spelling mistakes. A number of these attacks, a number of these emails are crafted by people where English is not their first spoken language. So grammar and spelling mistakes are often common, or just a misuse of certain grammar could be an indicator. Also, what to look out for, hyperlinks. So those links with the text with the underline underneath it, asking you to verify your account or for more information or to follow this link. Not saying all of those are bad, but you want to pay special attention to them. Attachments. Are you expecting an attachment? Any file type can be dangerous as an attachment. A PDF, Adobe file, an image file, a document. All those files could invoke an attack. So you want to be very, very cautious. Immediate action is required. A lot of times they'll say your account will close by the end of today. Immediately take action to this. Sense of urgency. Your bank is shutting down. Please log in to immediately transfer your funds. One example we're seeing is pre-register at your local hospital in the event you become sick during COVID-19. Be on the lookout for that. To send a request, password, or login credentials, usually a telltale no. You never want to respond to that. No reputable agency would ever ask for your password, login credential through an email. Now here's an example of a phishing email that has a lot of indicators here that something could be a little suspicious. So specifically, it's going to be the link in the email, the hyperlink. Now, as I mentioned in the previous slide, that FedEx.com tracking and then the tracking number looks legitimate, right? But if you hover over that link, that will reveal where the destination is actually going to. And in this particular example, that link was redirected to evilhacker.ru. Is that link safe to click? I would probably give it a no. So you want to keep that on the lookout. So you can craft a hyperlink to point to anything. So you want to be careful. You want to hover your mouse cursor over that link, and normally that will reveal the destination path. And if it's different than what it says on the screen, you want to be very cautious of that. In this particular message, it said, again, it's from FedEx.com, and it's from a package delivery. But again, if we look at the email address, david37428@gmail.com, that's something that is not look right. If it's from FedEx, it should come from the FedEx domain at fedex.com, not from someone's Gmail account. The non-specific user here, so just a very generic greeting, dear customer. And then if you look at the grammar, unfortunately, we unable to deliver you package this morning. We'll be making 2 more attempts in 48 hours if we're unable to deliver a package. So then they're trying to, instill a sense of urgency there. So those are all things to be on the lookout for. And also the attachment, which is a PDF, that might be suspect. So those are all things to look for in a crafted phishing email example. Another example specific to COVID-19, again, the COVID-19 coronavirus update. This was a message that was received by one of our someone in the legal department. Karen has sent you a document through OneDrive Access. The document by clicking the button below. Again, if you hover over that reviewed document, that would normally identify destination that may be amiss, may not be correct. So those are types of messages you may want to ignore. Things of that nature. And also, too, if this came from someone you can always give them a call on the phone and ask them if they sent that message. Since this did come from a legitimate law office, their machine got compromised, and you were one of the contact people in their email list who was sent that message. So you want to be cautious of that. Another example, coronavirus advisory information, health and warning. Specifically, kindly go through the attached document on safety measures and online training as a tool regarding the spread of coronavirus. Dear sir, the non-specificness of the recipient, and again, this attachment from who.doc, that could be something that's very amiss. And if there was from World Health Organization, you'd assume that the domain would match that and not this at meta.ua. So you got to be really careful when you look at those. Again, the World Health Organization and the email address. If you took a flight back from Canada, maybe you did, maybe you did not, but a lot of criminals will screen capture a known company's advertisement and craft it into a message. So from Air Canada, coronavirus flight, contact at onemail.club. So it doesn't sound like Air Canada. It sounds a little odd. And again, inside that message, there's a link for you to click to tell us about the flight. That will be something, again, you'd want to get a second pair of eyes on that, or contact Air Canada if you did take a flight, or just be suspicious of that particular type of email. American Express customer service for sale delivery for COVID-19 relief funds. We've been seeing a number of these emails because of the Payroll Protection Act, different companies that are receiving aid of, again, cyber criminals will craft, from American Express, dear hello valued member. Again, that's something, a very generic greeting. Saying $24 has been assigned to you because of the COVID-19 relief bill. Again, American Express, there's nothing in the email that specifies American Express. Sale at delivery 15765.info. That is something that's completely bogus. And also, if you were to hover over that link to please tap here to proceed, they're asking you to authenticate you with your credentials. You see it's going to this is a Google Doc, but it's a real long cryptic number letter that's crafted by a cyber criminal that's going to pivot to a system that they have access to, where they could, infect your system or, obtain your information. Again, using the COVID pandemic, the coronavirus affected 22 people in your state. Important news from the World Health or the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Cyber criminals will use these maps. They'll capture this information, craft it into an email, and send it out in mass. And again, if you look in humanservices.gov, it's pointing to a domain at gmx.com. So that's something that is not going to humanservices.gov. It's going to a malicious site. And again, looking at this particular message, there was a link to click on this link in the email, which could lead to a cyber criminal's authentication page. Mobile device scams. So not only are PCs and laptops being affected, but your smartphone as well. Misinformation. We've been seeing some of this in the wild. Take a few sips of water every 15 minutes if possible. If the virus gets in your mouth, drinking water or other liquids wash them down through your throat and into the stomach. Your stomach acid will kill it. No, that's false. So misinformation in mass. Just people trying to create a pandemic havoc. You want to be on the lookout for that. Malicious apps. Sometimes apps will get into an app store through Google Play, through the Apple Store, that have malicious intent. So they may say they're COVID-19 tracking software, when in actuality it's pointing to a malicious site. So if you download this software illegitimately, or if you download it and on your system doesn't catch it, it could perform some bad stuff. Relief scams. So if you may get a text message indicating as part of the NHS promise to battle COVID-19 virus, here's your goodwill payment, click on this payment. This is, again, very suspect if you get anything like this, especially unsolicited. This is just someone mass text messaging people to try to get them to get you to authenticate into their site to take your credentials. Charity donation scams. Again, during these times, cyber criminals prey on people who may be very vulnerable. So they're seeing the World Health Organization needs your money to help fund research and developing vaccine against coronavirus. This backupbuddy.com corona search, this is looking pretty unsafe down here. So this would be another example you may receive through social media or through your phone on another social platform. Here at Triton College, was this message from President Moore, President Mary Rita Moore? But if you look at the email address, it's maryritamoore1@gmail.com. I can be very certain saying this. President Moore's only two email addresses here at Triton. You have Mary Rita Moore at triton.edu and president@triton.edu. Again, the domain at Triton College will always be at triton.edu. Cyber criminals, they'll search social media, they'll search websites, they'll look for the high visibility targets at a company. They'll create an email account very similar to the surname of that person, and try to get you to fall victim. So you want to be on the lookout for that. Just a note on passwords here. Make passwords long and strong, a minimum of 8 characters, and a mixture of upper and lowercase characters, numbers, and symbols. I know we have passwords for multiple accounts, and that's good to maintain our safety. However, it can be difficult, right, to remember them all. Use passphrases. That's an example. So use a phrase like, I like the number 2 swim $2. Don't use that one, but something like that, something that's well known to you, but hard for someone to guess. And when you have that password, don't share it with other people. Make sure your password is unique and not something easily guessed. Have different passwords for your online account. Again, I know we have a number of different accounts here. There are password manager apps out there. I can't speak for anyone specifically, but you can use those to manage your passwords. Store your password in a safe place away from your computer. So you don't want to put it underneath your keyboard or put it on a sticky note on your desktop or at home on your kitchen table, right? You want to have it, in somewhere in a safe place. Change your password several times a year. I know at Triton College, I believe it's every 3 months or 6 months, but I know it's on a quarterly basis at least, so you want to be mindful of that. Don't iterate your passwords by adding the number 1 to an old password. So you want to create a new password every time that you are changing it. So how to avoid being a victim. Be suspicious of any unsolicited phone calls, texts, or email messages. Again, unsolicited. If they're just calling you out of the blue, that's something you really got to be on the alert for. One specific example here at Triton, there was an email that included in the subject line voice message. It came from a non-Triton email account, so not from an @triton.edu. The message included a link to click and asked the user to authenticate with your Triton username and password. It was a bogus message. So things like that, they're being very vague, very generic, but they're asking you for information. You want to be on the lookout for that. Don't provide personal information or information about your organization unless you are certain of a person's authority to have that information. So that includes financial information, personal information. Don't respond to email solicitations for this, including clicking or following links sent to an email. Don't send sensitive information over the internet before checking a website's security. And one good way of doing it, an easy way, is in the web address of that URL you're on, the website you're on. Source is www.triton.edu. You want to make sure that just to the left of the web address, there's that HTTP. You want to make sure it says HTTPS, which indicates you're going to a secure website. If it stays HTTP, that could be something that could be, not secure for knowing that for a fact, but also it could be set up by a threat actor or a cyber criminal. If you're unsure whether an email request was legitimate for personal information or information about your organization, contact the company directly. Call them on the phone. Email in a separate email. Send a separate email to that agency or that organization. Verify the source. That's the best thing you can do to make sure that they are, who they are. Install and maintain antivirus software, firewalls, and system updates. I know a number of us are working at home. What you can do is, if you're unsure if you have any antivirus protection on your system, you may want to reach out to your internet service provider, whoever your internet service provider is. A lot of times they will offer free antivirus software as being an account user, as being an internet provider, because they want to make sure your system is protected as possible. So you're helping them do their job, right? But you're also keeping your system secure, and it can also be free, or included with your your monthly service bill. So what to do if you are a victim? If you put in a password and you're second guessing yourself, immediately change that password that you might have revealed. The same password, multiple accounts, you're going to have to change that password for each account if the username is the same, especially. Don't use that password in the future, because a lot of times that account, if that password's been obtained, they're going to keep that information for a while and they may try to use it. And you want to make sure that you don't use that same password again down the road. You want to report the incident to the appropriate people within your organization. At Triton, you can call Triton College Technical Support. You can email them at helpdesk@triton.edu. You can also contact them by phone, 708-456-0300, extension 3375. Now, I say this, if you did this through your Triton email at home, you can contact them and notify them as you did this. Since you're using Triton's email, they can investigate that for you. If it is something with a financial nature, credit card company, financial institution, contact them immediately. You're going to want to have them close any accounts, send you out new cards if it was a credit card number you put in. Watch for any suspicious charges to your account. So look at your monthly billing statements and verify that everything is charged back, that you made those charges. Other signs of identity theft: you could receive debt collector calls. I may see your taxes were already filed in your name because they filed your taxes, but they redirected the return to another account. And warrants out for your arrest. A lot of times they'll steal your identity to perform bad deeds. And I have seen some situations where someone used someone else's identity and they were in legal trouble, and then there was a bench warrant issued for their arrest because the people were purporting they were you when in fact they weren't, and that can get very messy. So that's another reason why identity theft is very, very dangerous. And also you can consider reporting the incident to the police or file a report with the Federal Trade Commission. That is free. It's a free service. It's consumer.ftc.gov. They can aid you, and there's a lot of free information resources on their website as well. I have a number of additional resources here. I believe this presentation is going to be available in addition with the video. So you should be able to click the link somewhere in the video region in the PDC department and look at that. So the top link is to Triton's info pages, or coronavirus info. The second link, I'm just going to go to those first two, is Microsoft has a number of COVID-19 training resources. If you log into your Triton email account, then you click on this link. This link's okay to click, I promise. And it will redirect you to 3 different training courses you can take. They're short little training courses or interactive, kind of walking you through some additional simulated, cyber attacks to be on the lookout for, and a number of other resources that are all good. A lot of times too, you want to go after resources that are .gov, that are .org. Those are legitimate resources. A lot of times cyber criminals will try to have you redirect you to a site saying they have information on how to protect yourself, and there could be some malicious information on that site. So Professional Development Center, you want to go ahead and contact Susan Rohde if you like this video, and if you'd like to see future videos, you can email her at susanrohde2@triton.edu. Again, my name is Patrick Kane. I'm a faculty member in the Computer Information Systems Department at Triton, and I thank you for watching this video, and I hope you stay safe, and I hope to see you all soon. Take care, folks.